Hello and welcome to the top of the world. It's raining. It's been raining for days. It's going to be raining for days. We have some essential maintenance to do on the van. I've had a squeak for, I don't know, several months. And with the use of a bit of WD-40, I eliminated it down to a bearing on a wheel on the multi-V groove belt that runs everything, but not the cam belt. I was also aware it's cracked and worn, and it's ready for its annual inspection, and I've had a brake light on the dashboard since the day I bought it. So we're going to replace all the brakes, we're going to replace the belt, we're going to replace all the wheels, and then I've got, I'll show you. So this is the kit. This is the wheel with the bearing gone that's squealing. And we've got another reverse wheel in there. We've got the belt we need to replace. And we've got the old pressure releasey bitty thing that keeps the tension on the belt. Front brakes, rear brakes, side loading door handle, because we can't use that because it's broken. And then we've got a small light to replace at the rear. So I've already got the van up in the air on the axle stands with an additional wheel underneath, side loading door handle broken, light missing, good light missing, and brake pads all round. So first of all, see if I can get you in here. Right, that wheel there, that's the wheel that squeals. The bearing's gone. And you can see that these V-belts, well, you can't, really. Anyway, they go round in a funny old pattern. Now, there should be, up here, there should be a sticker somewhere that shows me which way that belt goes round all them various wheels down there. Well, I can't find that. I've looked inside the doors, I've looked inside the engine housing, I've looked on the cover there. There doesn't appear to be the little sticker that there should be that shows me which, so I need to pay attention to that. There's something missing off of that as well. The last repair we did behind here, where that black plastic cap blew off and caused us to break down in -26, that hasn't blown off again, so that was a good repair. But now we have to do this belt and these wheels and then replace the brakes. So what I was always reasonably concerned about was the rust on this van. And I was also concerned about underneath, because I know when I looked at it, there was some rusty rails. However, we'll take you under there. I've had a good look now around the front, around the subframe, the frame rails. I've had a look around all that. It's not that bad. So I've got her up on axle stands, right? I've also got a wheel in there. And I've always done that. It's to stop the last of the crush injuries. The parking brake's on, I've chopped the wheels, it should be alright. But if something fails, this weight coming down on you is going to kill you. If you put that wheel in there, it won't. It'll hurt you, but it won't kill you. Alright, so initial inspection says, oh, it's a bit, but it's all surface. The actual integrity of the frame under here is really good. So I'm not as concerned as I was. You can see the sides. As we get back down there, it needs a bit of love and care. But in actual fact, it's not that bad. And the engine's dry, which is what we never had with the old Volkswagen. That was always leaking something. So this is good. And one of the reasons why I snagged this up quick was it's actually quite low mileage. Anyway, so first thing we've got to do is remove this cover. One of the things I noticed when I got under here is this is undone. Right? and that holds these lines in place. I don't know why that's undone, but we need to remove this cover, because if we remove this cover, when we get underneath there, we can see in there's the belt that we need to place. So we'll get this cover off first, and that'll give us a bit more exposure to what we're doing. But nothing's as bad as I thought it was. And the exhaust is new. It all looks really quite good under there. There's more rust at the back than there is at the front. So even where this is kind of flaky, it's just surface, nothing's really got in there. Whereas when we were working on that Volkswagen, when we got that, I had to weld the hell out of that for 3 days just to get that through a safety inspection. This, with regards to rust, is going to sail right through. So if we do the essential maintenance, then we do what we need for the inspection, then we do safety, which is brakes. Brakes are a big thing here. And the brake pads and that don't look too bad, but I've never done them. So if I do everything, I've already done the full service on this. If I do everything, then we know where we are. However, if you recall, I did this on the Volkswagen, and then promptly after I did it, all the valve strings snapped and the valve dropped down on top of the piston, and oh, well, that was the end of that one. Right. And since it's raining, and it's constantly raining, I've been waiting on the parts to come for this. I think we'll crack into this. Okay, so I've drawn a little picture there. Very rough. Just in case I make a mistake and I can't remember how the belt goes back on. Right. I've also removed the cover, which is there. Oh, let's put some light on the situation. I've also removed the cover, which is there, and this first little belt and the plastic pulley, which operates, I believe, I thought it was a power steering. Yeah, perhaps it's a power steering. And that first little belt wrapped around this pulley, and the other pulley bolted onto there. And I couldn't see any way of untensioning that at all. I looked at this weird connection here, which as you can see I've put penetrating oil on. Anyway, I couldn't see any way of adjusting. But what I did notice was this pulley has a hole in it. A big one, top one, there. Well, I'm assuming that's because you can put it back on, right? Put a screwdriver through it, tension it above there and pop it back on there. So since I couldn't see any way of untensioning it, I just took the pulley off. Do we have a service manual for this? No, we don't. Anyway, let's hope common sense prevails. Right, so up in here, we can now see this twisty belt that goes round all these different wheels. And this here, this is a tensioner wheel. And it's got a 1/2-inch square drive in the end of it, which you can put a bar, untension it to release the belt. So there's the generator, the alternator. There's a crank. There's another small wheel there that we've got to replace. The one at the top is the one that's squealing, right up there. Anyway, we've got to try and get 1/2-inch bar now into that, untension it, and we should be able to release this belt. So now we should be able to turn that. Oh yeah, you can see that. See the tension coming off the belt? I don't really have enough. I'm hoping we've got enough just to get it off. Can we get it off of that one? Yes. Okay, there we go. Off. Now, can we get this back out? There lies the question, because I've got my doubts whether I got that out, and now we can unravel the belt and take the belt off. But we can see the small wheels now that we need to replace. This one, and then the one above it. Okay, so this is the one that's been squealing. We need to get that off. Okay. This is the culprit. This is the squealy wheel. Alright, so we've managed to fiddle the new belt in. Now we've got to change this lower wheel. Now this lower wheel wasn't making a noise, but we're going to change it anyway with the new one. So this is one of those wheels where the belt runs in reverse, as in the back of the belt runs across it. Okay, there's the nut and the washer. We need that. Okay, there's the old one. That's weird, that just sits over that nut. Okay, that's what it says it does. Let's put the new one on. Like that. And the nut. It's not focusing very well on that wheel, sorry about that. And all you're getting to see is the back of my hand. Okay. Then we don't have any of these fancy snap-on ratchet wrenches. We just have the good old take it off, move it round, bolt it on wrenches. Which is a right, wow, that was simple, wasn't it? Okay. There we go. Now we go and do the top one. Right, the top one. I have to remember where that goes. There's the old squealy one. This is the new one. Okay, so now what we've got to do is fiddle that belt back around the way it was before and release it. There we go, new wheels, new belt. Okay, now I guess we need to find out if that worked. So, this squeals like mad when you start it up, or it did. Oh. Hello, how are you doing? Right, neutral I suppose, be a good idea. Nothing, there you go, solved. Right, that's one job done. Lovely. This small belt goes back round here. The way I saw it happening was you could put something through there and lever it tight to get that to snap onto there. That's kind of how I saw that working. So I suppose now is a good time to find out if I was right or not. Like that. That's where I think that should be. And we've got to repeat the process. I keep doing that. You kind of got to repeat the process here, so that those bolt holes are somewhere close. I don't think I'm making this up, if I'm honest. I could be, because I can't see any adjustment on there, but I really don't think I am. I'm pretty sure this is how it was intended to work. albeit I'm not doing a very... Sometimes when you're running the camera, you can't get in the angle you want to get at and in the position you want to be because you lot are in the way. Anyway, I'm going to leave my struggle in this time as opposed to cutting it out. I can't see what's on the other side of that, and I'll keep it in the camera. Are we even seeing what's going on here? And every time you slip, you knock that out. That's got to be like that. The struggle is real, is all I can say. Make sure the belt's seated well. Now I can't even remember how I had that in. Like that. And you don't want to obviously stretch it in a way that it feels like the belt's going to snap. You want to just get it in there like that. And I can just about see one of the holes, so I want a small screwdriver now to put in there and pull that straight. Bear with me. Okay, can we get that in there to pull that hole round? Yes, we can. Switch from a flathead. There. Now, if I've done my job right, okay, that's the power steering all connected back up. Nice. And now all we've got to do is fiddle this cover back in here somehow. There. Okay. Nice. Right. Okay. That does actually conclude the belt replacement, which all started with that top wheel there squealing. All fixed, repaired, belt's good. Right, now we take coffee and then we're into the brakes. Right, my intention here is not only to replace the brake pads, but also clean up and do a bit of a quick renovation job on the calipers and the disc and anything else under here that needs a cleaning up inspection for rust or rubbers or anything else that's worn. Yeah, like the sway bar rubbers. Anyway, we haven't got those, so we haven't got anything other than the brake pads. So the first thing you've got to do is squeeze the caliper back together and take the self-adjustment out of it. And you can do that in a number of ways. Right, what I suggest you don't do is use any sort of lever, bar, and bar against the disc. So I've got two options with me. I've got a quick clamp, like this, or I've got something in case it gets stuck. So we're going to try the old quick clamp first and see if I can clamp this together Now what you're going to be doing when you're doing this is you're also going to be squeezing the brake fluid back through the pipe. So we want to take the lid off and just check we're not going to overflow the system on the brake. So we're at the full mark, so we ain't got a lot to play with. But if we take the lid off and squeeze these up together, give us a bit of play to get the caliper off, which is the next job. Squeeze that right up, then we can remove these, and that should make our discs, our pads loose in there. Oh yeah, okay. We've got two big 19mm bolts that go through into the brake caliper. Now I always have the same problem. When this brake caliper comes off, the only thing that's then holding it is the soft line. I've never actually split or destroyed a soft line. But unless we're taking this soft line off, and we're definitely not, we probably want to have a bit of wire or a bit of string through there and up to the spring so it doesn't come down and destroy the soft line, because we haven't got any replacements for this, and we can't afford to damage one because this is our only vehicle to get to town, obviously. So what I'm going to do is get a bit of wire in preparation, because I'm much older and wiser now. Alright, well, instead of finding a bit of wire and messing around, I've actually got some paracord, and since I've got plenty of paracord, we'll use that instead. What's paracord? Cord from parachutes. Unbreakable stuff it is, and ideal for holding up what we're going to do here. Put that out of the way. Right, now I can tell you from experience, these bolts holding the caliper on are not the easiest thing in the world to undo. There's a bar extension, should do the job. Am I crawling about with my hands and knees on a concrete floor without my knee pads in? Yes, I am. That's going to fight me all the way out there, but I think we've got it out. And now where we've compressed the brake caliper, that should, there we go, slide off, and that's where the paracord comes into play. So you see that it's not pulling on the soft line. We can see there's quite a bit of meat left on that one, but not necessarily the inner one, but we're going to replace them anyway and clean up this whole caliper. So what I've noticed on this is how this brake pad is worn around the edge there through a build-up of rust on the disc. I'm not quite sure how that's been allowed to happen, but anyway, we're going to get all the muck off the back of the disc because it's causing a problem with the brake disc and the wear there. There we are. I've taken off all the ridges on the disc. The disc is like new again. That'll also make it really easy, or it should make it really easy, for reassembly. Look at that. How smooth is that? Lovely. Okay, that's that one done. So I've taken all that edge off, all the edge off the back side, and basically rejuvenated that entire disc. Right, now we change the pads, put it all back together. Alright, we've turned the van round, jacked it up, and this is what we got here. Lovely. Now you can see by the shiny strip, this pad is only using half of what it could be using because of all this corrosion everywhere. So really and truly, this is replacement rotors. Right, can't go replacing rotors, don't have the money for that. So, as if by magic, I've already done the other side, just put it back together. Look at that. It's all cleaned up, there's no roughness. All this is cleaned up in here. The back side's cleaned up. And the new brake pads are in. So, how did I achieve this? Well, these are cast iron, these rotors. They can be as fragile as glass, but as hard as cast iron, thankfully. So we start with this, before we even try and get the caliper off. Look at that. Look at the thickness of that. And that's where your brake pads should be riding. Look at that lot. And this is all corrosion on the discs. So now we don't need new rotors. Now we can just clean all these up. Alright, rear brake calipers, self-adjusting, which means when the piston comes out it turns because of the handbrake. So we'll take out that's not bad, but look at the way it's worn badly, just terrible. And that one's worn right down, just as the other side was. Okay, so this is held in place not by the soft line, but by the handbrake cable. Now in here, I'm hoping you can see, right, this is the piston. And as it comes out, it turns. And what that does is keep the brakes at the rear adjusted so that you've always got handbrake. Look at that disc, that rotor. You just don't need another one now. Perfect. Still got a bit of pitting, but it's not as bad as it was. Okay, so what we've got to do is, when we push that in, we've got to turn that all the way. Very difficult unless you've got a pull, but it can be done by turning it. Now, these go anti-clockwise. I bet there's no arrow on this one either. Right, the calipers should have an arrow, you'd like to think, to show you which way those go in. But I know these go anti-clockwise, these. So what I've got here is I've got a brake tool. And this is for putting those in. Now I'm hoping we don't need this. I'm hoping, right, we've been wrong before, we can put that onto there and push it in and turn anti-clockwise, and it will not turn at all. Oh, right, okay. that's a good way in now. Yeah, that's got to be it. Okay, now like I say, you can't do that without the tool, but prepare yourself for a nightmare. Yep. So that's the last of the brakes done. I've been on this now, I think it's 7:30, so I've been on this 12 hours with very minimal stops. So I would say that was, in total, there's 11 hours into this. Now that wasn't just changing the brakes, that's cleaning up all the rotors by hand as well. And my battery went flat halfway through, so I've also done the side loading door handle. Tomorrow I want to do the electrics on the back, and I want to get into some of the rust halfway down the chassis rail where it meets the body. There's some, might be a little bit of welding to do there, but that is definitely me done for today. I'll show you the side loading door, and then we'll be back in the morning to do some body work, do some electrics, put these back wheels on, and she's good to go. New handle fitted, side loading door. There we go, done. So that's never worked before. That's the brakes done, and that's me done. And we'll see you in the morning. Morning, 12 hours later. I didn't really want to slice this, but I have done because I need to get into here. So I've got to replace this little registration plate light, because that doesn't work, and I've always been aware that the high level brake stop light doesn't work either. However, have I paid attention to the electrics in this door? No, I haven't. Anyway, have I had a surprise this morning? Bit disappointing, really, if I'm honest. Yeah. Right. So on this side, which is the main opening door, it has this bit of plastic here that holds the cables and slides in and out. What electrics are on this door? None. There's no electrics on this door. No. On this door's high level brake light. Anyway, they're like not connected. And if this thing did slide once, it's not going to slide again. There ain't enough. I'm just not quite sure. Anyway, it's got Ford badge on it, so you know there's another cable in there. We might have to. I'm going to fit the little light first and connect that up, and yeah, MacGyver something together, I guess. Everything's quite. The electrical connections are quite corroded in there. Ow, ow, that was the table. Ah, washed. Perhaps I'll just move that like that a little bit, and then I won't hit my kneecap on there we go. It's like it was the foam backing holding it in place anyway. Okay, so we've got this little doodad, another jungle special. You know what? That's an exact match. Look at that. That's an exact match. I suppose it should be, really, shouldn't it? Okay. There we go. Right. That's that done. Now, I wasn't quite expecting this, if I'm honest. I don't suppose I could use that bit. Yeah, maybe I can reuse that in some way. Right, there we go. Now this is so badly damaged. Can I pull those? Yes. There we go. Right, we don't need that bit. What I should do is check that these are not damaged any further down before we start. Get rid of all that old stuff where you can't see what's going on. Right, they're damaged there, but and there. Alright. So that's the furthest down it's damaged, but it's not broken the inner core. I don't want to take too much cable off of these, but I've got an idea how to make the remnants of this work in a way that it was supposed to. You see, if I do that and run the new cables back through that bit, then the door will slide in and out and the cables will stay protected. And then I've got these two bits here that are used for the housing in there. I can put that back together almost as if it was done at the factory, but probably better. Not taking away anything from those that work in assembly plants, but you know, they're on a numbers per minute cycle and I'm on a minute per numbers cycle. So, two different ways of working. Don't matter how hard I work or how long I work, I'm not going to get paid for it anyway. So, there's no point in rushing, right? Right, except winter's coming. Okay, so that somehow goes like that. And then that rubber goes round there. That goes in there like that. Right? Right. Okay. Does it go in there like that? Yeah, it does. Yeah, that goes that way. And then that jams in the end and that slides in there. Right then, so what we can do is we can slide these back through there like thus, and then poke all these out through this hole like so, and then we connect all of them together. This goes on afterwards with some tape and the whole lot rams into there. Alright, let's go and get what I need to join this lot together. Electrics. Over the years, when I was small, obviously we had the little blocks that you used to screw electrics together and it was all bulky and just didn't work, and then there was the quick clamps and heat shrink. Heat shrink is the lifesaver. That's where it's at. A bag of multicoloured, multi-sized heat shrink tubes is exactly where it's at. I want a bit of blue to make sure it goes over everything I want it to go over. Slide that as far back away from where you're going to be working as possible. Hey, pack that in. That's Casper doing his scratch and sniff before he lays down, which I don't always appreciate. You can see this is not going to go well. Slide that one out like that. And that half goes okay, and use some of this nasty stuff. Take that back together like it was. little rubber seal on. Now, manipulate that back into that hole. Right, we might. There we go. Right, that's back into there. What we want that to do is slide. Well, like the day it was new. Well, I am impressed with that, I've got to say. And there you go. Right. Before I put the panel back on, we'll just do a quick test on that. Fixed. Nice. Okay, we have lights and we have high level brake light, and all that is back together. All right, there we go, done. Right, so trailers here, they need to go for an inspection every 2nd year. When this went for an inspection 2 years ago, I got an advisory on this side brake. Is it heavy enough to be a brake trailer? Well, it's if, buts or maybes, but the fact it's got brakes, therefore they've got to work. So this is the next one. Off with the wheels, look at the brakes, find out what's going on there. Got grease in there. Right, so I've cleaned up the drum. I've cleaned it up with a wire brush, and then I've used acetone on the surface itself. It's not particularly pitted, it's quite good. And then on the brake pads, I just gave them a light whiz over with my whirly wheel, and I rubbed them down with acetone. Now I'm going to pack out the bearings. I'm going to use Keno, right? This is a white moly grease, better suited to marine applications and trailers. However, it's quite a lightweight trailer, doesn't do much. It don't go very far, and it doesn't do much and go very far very often, but it does sit a lot. And what happens here is when the snow melts, everything sits in water. So I'm going to pack them with this, just so we don't get any corrosion in there. And I'm not going to pack them too much because we don't want a lot of grease inside this. I know there shouldn't be any grease getting inside, but clearly it is. Seems to be a lot of grease in there. So we'll pack the bearings in the same way as we did on the other side. Using the same type of grease. So I never actually thought about using this grease here until I saw one of the old men putting it on the bearings in his tractor. And I said, why are you using the moly grease? Why are you using this Keno? And he said, because the tractor stands more than it runs. And he seemed to think that in the industry worked in, and I don't know what that was, that they used to use more of that than any other type of grease if a vehicle was standing more than it runs, because of the moisture. And what happens in the winter, of course, if you've got a vehicle outside, now I know I built a shed for this, but now it's sitting on the floor because there's no concrete floor. The snow, the fine snow, blows in places water can't get, and it sits there frozen in time until the spring comes. And then when the spring comes, of course, it melts and moisture gets into a place it wouldn't normally be. This is his description, not mine. Moisture gets into a place it wouldn't normally be, or wouldn't normally be able to get to even. And that leads to corrosion and problems in places you wouldn't normally have them. And that was his answer to my question as to why you're using Keno marine grease on a tractor bearing. Now then, the eagle eyes amongst you would have already realised that the hub on the other side has studs and this one has bolts. And you're probably thinking, well, why is that? Yeah, I've thought, why is that several times. Anyway, what I suspect is, like I've seen so many people do, is somebody has driven these studs in with one of these fancy machines, right, probably an air gun. And the reason I don't use an air gun or anything else to start my nuts or studs or bolts or anything else is because many moons ago I went to one of these fast fit, and I'm talking many moons ago, I don't know, 30 years ago, maybe more, yeah, more. Anyway, I went to one of these fast fit tyre things for a tyre, and I had a Fiat Mera Fury 2 litre twin overhead cam. Beautiful car it was. Anyway, this young kid come out and changed the tyre and buzzed me wheel back on, and in doing so threaded 3 of the studs. Left me in this car park, right, with the car completely ruined, absolutely ruined. And since that day, I have never used a machine to thread a nut or a bolt. Now, it's so long ago, I can't even remember what the outcome of all that was. But I do know it was a bad day for me. Now, we'll let that soak and we'll adjust those up. And that should do it. I know it's only a trailer, but it's good condition under here. I put a new floor in it 4 years ago. It's another one of my special auction buys. So, I don't play with the auctions like I used to because I don't have any money, but I used to be able to make good money at the auctions, and I used to have the whole I can't be bothered attitude, which meant that you sit around and watch everything going cheap and then chuck all your bids in at the last second and see what you picked up, and this was one of them. I was sure this was going to go for a lot of money because trailers here go for a lot of money, and just didn't. Anyway, there you go. Right. We'll let them soak. What we got here is, on these, there's 2 nuts locked against each other, and they're so corroded that these are not even a full metric size. I'm not quite sure what size they are, maybe they're 1/2 inch. Anyway, I'm not going to be able to separate them. So what we're going to do is up at this end, which is what I did when I realised I hadn't pressed record. We should have an adjusting nut so we can adjust both of them. So that's it for that one. Van's done, ready, road tested, trailer's done. Was tested as best I can. The wheels are locked up when the brake's on. Final bit of adjustment did the job. That's it, done. We're ready for our annual inspection now. So once again, thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, make a comment if you've got something to say, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. It doesn't do any harm, really helps me out. You all have a great day. Thanks very much. Bye for now.